Okay, just ladies and gentlemen, let's just wait for an extra minute and then we will start. Just an extra minute, then we will start. Thank you.
Okay, Prof.
All right, thanks. Okay, so thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it's quite a moment for us to come together for this conversation on markets, business processes, innovation, and how to find that efficiency between demand and supply so that we can reach an optimal equilibrium to serve market needs. So thank you anywhere you are. I'm Ndubuisi Ekekwe. I'm speaking from United States this morning. I want to thank you so much for joining us. As typical, any day I am anchoring, we usually begin by asking questions about our weekly section. So for this week, I don't know if you have any question specifically from our lecture notes. So let me know if you have any question from our lecture notes. We can start from there. I just want to, am I audible enough, please? Can someone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can hear
Okay,
you
great. Yeah.
clear, clear.
Okay, so let me know if there is any question before we now open it up for the general question and answer.
I just think people are still coming in.
No,
Uh,
we don't have to wait for them really. Just, but if there is no question, then we can open it up for the, yeah. So this week we look at artificial intelligence and cloud computing. It was delivered by the head of Microsoft and AI and cloud in Africa. So we saw his materials. We also look at cybersecurity. Uh, he was delivered by the CEO of InfoPrive. Sorry, we're having some background noise there. So we also look at noted cybersecurity from InfoPrive CEO. He explained the trends, everything happening within the space of cybersecurity. Another space we look at blockchain, the promises of blockchain, the technology itself, and how blockchain is changing the ordinance of business systems. Franklin Peters, the CEO of BitFST, which is based in Lagos, led that subsection this week. So we look at how blockchain could change finance, how blockchain could simplify identity recognition, and how blockchain could theoretically, I would say, affect every aspect of our business system. Then concluding it, we look at data analytics and big data analytics, data management. It was delivered by Dr. Adewole Ogun Yadeka, PhD graduate holder, practitioner, and who lives in United Kingdom. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question in that space, so just ask. And some of these faculty members will still be joining us, Tekedia Live, but I want to know if there is any general question so that we can look at it. Someone has asked me that this is supposed to be a business a management program. The necessity of going into these specific areas. Of course, if you look at these courses, we are not teaching people how to build AI machines. We are not educating ourselves on how to become hackers or cybersecurity guys. What we are focusing here is understanding the business applications of these technologies. It's basically saying, how do we become aware so that as a business leader, as a management leader, when you walk into that boardroom, when you walk into that executive management suite, people say cybersecurity, you're a little bit informed what it means. When people say artificial intelligence and cloud, you're a little bit informed. We are not saying that you are now an expert. That is not the purpose. And I recall vividly the leader in Microsoft in this space in our region. He noted that I'm not coming here to teach you how to be an AI engineer. Rather, I'm coming here to teach you how AI can change your business, how AI can influence the competitive space we have in the world. So we think that a 21st century management program should be so encompassing that when people finish from it, the elemental constructs, the understanding of how these technologies are changing the business climate, that they should just have a little bit knowledge of it. So we don't want to go into the technicalities of this space. We're not really teaching how to write codes, rather we're just teaching how these technologies are evolving and how they are changing everything that we are doing. So that is the reason why we included them. In short, by next edition, we're including 5G because there are a lot of conversations about the promises of 5G, what 5G can do. We want to tell our members, we're not going to train you to become a 5G engineer with MTN or Glo or Airtel or Safaricom or anyone, Trigo, but rather we are going to expose you to understand what 5G can do in business and how you can be aware in case that opportunity comes up in that space. So that is really the purpose of that particular section. So if anyone has any question in that, and we will take it up. Otherwise, we will open it out for question and answer. I can see some hands are already up, but I'm just trying to give this space for members to so any question? Okay. So Emmanuel, you have a question, please go ahead. Emmanuel Akintude, please go ahead. Good morning.
Good day, Professor, and good day to everyone here. And thank you for this once again. Yeah, I just, of course, I see you talking about the AI stuff, and something came up this month, and we have been seeing different country development and this, and the AI thing seems to be the new oil. Now, let me say the data is the new oil. Of course, you can't talking about the AI without mentioning data. And I was surprised this month when the UAE announced to name a minister of artificial intelligence. And that is the first country in the world of such. My question that now comes to my mind is that if the developing country, like mostly in Africa, have lost behind in development of other infrastructure that makes some country to be very rich and have a good job for their citizens in terms of paid. Data seems to be something that no one control, especially the Western. And for this reason, how do you think the African country can exploit this before it is too late, just like other technology that the Western is enjoying now, which the developing country is not enjoying? Thank you, Prof.
I think that's a very powerful summary. I would say it's not just a question, because that observation is a very critical thing. We are at an inflection point at the moment in the world, where new technologies are creating new niches in competitiveness as well as comparative advantages of nations. You know, as technology brings new dimensions of productivity, nations are changing in so many ways. A few months ago, there was an article I wrote in Harvard. And in that article, I made this case that as nations like Ethiopia, Kenya, they are hoping that possibly that one day China will become very, very rich to the extent that labor costs in China become exceedingly higher averagely compared to Africa. And if that happens, most parts of United States and Western Europe companies will now say, we can't go and outsource jobs to China, rather let's send those jobs to Ethiopia, Kenya, and some other places that are positioning themselves as outsourcing manufacturing hubs in Africa.
Yeah.
So the hypothesis is that the wage in China will go up, and if the wage goes up, Africa will be the next destination. But I made a point in that paper that the problem is that Africa is not competing with China anymore. Africa is competing with artificial intelligence. Because the jobs America used to send to China, the jobs Western Europe used to send to China, robotics and AI are taking over those jobs. So interestingly, in the next 5-6 years, China will not even get those jobs because robots will do them in America. And if robots do them in America, there will not be any job for America to especially outsource. So if the hope of Africa is that it will compete based on cheap labor cost, AI will disintermediate that low level labor cost, because the job of the future that are exceedingly low wage are going to be done by robots and AI. So the point you made here calls into question, how can a continent position itself since the low-hanging fruits of tomorrow are going to belong to machines and they will not be available for human beings to do them? So this is very simple. If you go to McDonald's now in America, there are so many McDonald's, you don't even need to meet human beings. Go there, they scan your this thing, they send you whatever you want to eat. And increasingly, they are making more money, but they are hiring lesser number of people. And as you go into so many shops, they are finding a way to automate retail systems. Just go to Amazon, walk into a shop, you buy as many things as you want to buy. You don't even need to meet any human being. You just walk out, the machine will debit your debit card or your credit card. So if you go into manufacturers now, most of them are automated. They are using robots and AI to do them. So we are not going to go through industrialization in Africa using the playbook that China used 40 years ago. Because when China started 40 years ago, there were no robots the way we have them today. So those machines have created disintermediation. And now what worked for China cannot work for us. So the point I made in that paper, Africa has to invent a new paradigm, a new framework that will work for it, considering the realities of today in terms of what technology is doing in our time. That comes back to your question, what can Africa do? The reality here is that every person is local and every person is also global at the same time on the internet. There is nothing like a local boy.
When it comes to internet.
Because of internet, there's nothing like if you are in your village and you post it, no one cares whether you're posting it from Lagos, or you're posting it from my beautiful village in Abia State. Or we know that the content is on the internet. So that means that you cannot say, because we are in Nigeria, we just do our own standard, without knowing that what happens in Silicon Valley will affect you, because all of you are now IP address away. And that is also the question why edutech products and services in Africa, some of them are struggling. Because if Khan Academy receives, let's say, $100 million in grant, and is producing all this content for the world free, and you want to do mathematics education in Lagos, there is no comparative advantage you have on internet why a mother will pay you maybe 40,000 naira a month when Khan Academy will give him the same thing free online. Because that home advantage you used to have in Lagos, you don't have it anymore on the internet, because all of you are now local and all of you are also global. So the point is, how do you differentiate yourself? Differentiating yourself means you have to be trying to be better in something. You have to add value in something. You have to create a separation between you yourself and what the other person is adding. So this is what it needs to be. And it's not just Africa. If you look back in Nigeria, you see we also need to go with the fierce urgency of architecting that future we want. We go to Ghana, we go to Kenya. We need to take action, because we just have about 15 more years and another long-term supremacy where this technology will just suppress, will just happen, because you're not going to catch up, but we're just saying, let's stay closer. And so that's what I would say in that space. So any question, no applause, or any comment in that space?
Thank you very much, Prof. It's
Okay.
really insightful.
Okay, yes. Okay, Namdi say I have an article on, okay. So he has an article on AI can create an intelligent economy. Of course, yes. If you have the link, you can also share that, Namdi. Just look for it on Tekedia, you can share the link. Okay, Aleka Uzoma, are you trying to ask your question? Okay, so I have one here I have here one on YouTube Live here. On our platform here, Tekedia Live platform is asking what is going to be the future of jobs with all these technologies that we have listed. Of course, we are business people and we make decisions, not necessarily that we are creating companies just because we want to create jobs. As we noted in week 1 of our program, that companies exist to fix frictions. And how do you build companies? You have to bring the factors of production. You have to bring capital. You have to bring land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and then you also have to bring an element of labor. So knowledge, that knowledge is now one of the most important aspects of this business. So if these things are happening, the future of work will change. But I do believe vividly that the limitations of man today or woman today, those limitations are bounded by things we know today. There are things that AI will bring in the next 5 years that will open up a new industry that we have not even thought about. So today, people are, if you go to Amazon now, there is a new job title called Manager for Remote Workers. By December, there was nothing like that. But after this pandemic, companies are now hiring managers that can supervise their remote workers. That's a new job title. That's a new job that pandemic made and also technology made possible. So what I'm trying to say, let's not get so fixated that robots or AI, they are coming to take over our jobs. They are not going to take over our jobs because they are going to create a new opportunity that we have not thought about. And when those new opportunities are created, they are going to enable us to do things that we have not been doing today. So companies hiring managers or coordinating remote workers. There wasn't anything like that by January, even February. But today, it's becoming a career. You know how you can manage hundreds of people across different continents working for a company. So if AI unlocks new opportunities for the future, we are going to see, amazingly, new industries and new sectors that will come. 30 years ago, there wasn't anything like the apps economy, where people make mobile apps and dump them on App Store, Play Store. But iPhone and Android, they made them possible. And many people are earning millions of dollars across different nations just doing that. So the point I'm making here is that the problem is not what AI or robots will do to take over our jobs. The problem is, are we ready to relearn, repair ourselves, so that when those redesigns of tomorrow come, we are ready for them? It's more of, are we ready to retrain ourselves, to reposition ourselves, to acquire new skills that will help us to advance so that we can keep our jobs, keep our roads, and continue to. That one is the more important thing, because if we have that flexibility, we will be fine. As the opportunities come, great things will happen. I mean, 10 years ago, we may not be having this call like this way, but Zoom came and the internet got better. So if AI can do so many things, new opportunities will come. But the question is, will you be ready? And will you be prepared? So that's the key thing here. I was in the European Union last year. We're discussing the future of work. I was one of the people there working in Denmark, looking at it. And they were so fixated about how people will lose their jobs. And government was thinking of, let's tax every company. So if you displace people because of artificial intelligence, you have to pay so many amount of money that the government can pay people even if they don't have jobs. You know, I made a point there, say, every policy you're trying to make here is based on your understanding of today. What if AI creates new opportunities that, interestingly, there will not even be enough people to do the jobs? And there is a possibility, because today, Amazon is going to hire more than 1 million people. We're going to have more than 1 million workers, hopefully in the next few months now, because it's more than 800,000 people. Who has ever believed that an asset-light company that does not basically have so many things will be technically one of the largest employers of labor in the world? As Amazon is hiring 33,000 people extra, it's going to hit 1 million workers very soon. That is what technology could do. So, Emmanuel, it's like you have another question here. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I just a little bit additional word to what you said, because it's something that came up in the recent day. In fact, it's a subject of discussion yesterday with one of my team. Yeah, I'm an industrial engineer by profession, as a profession, and mainly in the food processing sector. And I use the case study of Nexu, for example. Nexu produces Maggi, which is, of course, common in African countries. And if majority of the Kulena here know, Maggi is a very small in terms of size. And 5 years ago and beyond, human beings are the one that is picking this after the packaging, and then set it into small box before ramping up, and then going to the cartons and this. So they start investing in the robot, in which it displaces hundreds of people on the conveyor line, and then the robots pick this. So what happens is that the production efficiency increased more than 75%. I mean, they have been doing 1 ton per day, while human beings are picking these stuffs, and by robots they are doing, almost 3 tons per day. So why people say, okay, I'm going to lose my job and this? It is actually more even expensive for the company, and they pay more when this technology comes in than when the manual things or the way they have been doing it before is continued. For example, is this. In Nigeria, for example, there is a nursery company in around Shagam, which anytime the guy has to come, let's say from Italy or from Germany to fix a related issue with the robot, the average payment per day is 1,200 euro. I mean, that is perhaps a salary of a manager in 1 month in Nigeria. So, and this is not include the expenses, ticket, hotel, and whatever it's required. Where I'm going here is the proof. I mean, people have a fear because somebody calling me yesterday and saying that, oh, I mean, the company is making a restructure, and instead of increasing the salary or employing more people, they are changing the equipment to have more sophisticated one. And he was afraid possibly could lose a job. And the question is to him, I mean, why not you get, I mean, the skill that's attached or related to new technology the company is introducing to their production line? So if we look at it in the past way, we could be afraid of losing our job. But if we start to thinking of moving on the same speed together with the AI or whatever, then we had more value to ourselves. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, I think that's really the message. And that's what actually the purpose of us coming together this way. It's part of that retraining. Is when we say retraining, it's retraining. It's really about how can you survive and how can you thrive. There will be a lot of changes. Complaining about technology taking our jobs. I'm not going to use Donald Trump's word, suckers and losers. I mean, it's just really not a smart thing because you can't stop it. You cannot stop a company trying to reduce costs. You cannot stop a company trying to become more efficient. But they have what they call fiduciary responsibility. And if they figure out that using robots, machines can do that, there is just no way you can stop it. Why will you keep having typists when there is Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, and Excel? Why will you use typists when there you can have Windows to type things in Office? So the question is, people that make those arguments, they also have their own incentives, which is they want to be known for something so that they can pursue a career. So that's why when you hear politicians talk it, they are not necessarily doing it because they want to help you. They're doing it because they want to have their own career, which is they are fighting for you, even when technically what they're saying doesn't make sense. So we have to spend effort to think about what we can do, how we remain relevant, and how we prepare ourselves in order to rise. When I joined the banking industry in Nigeria many years ago, just after youth service, I joined around 3 weeks just after youth service. I was in Diamond Bank in Lagos. When I go to the bank, first 1 week, I went to the executive management page where they list all the executive directors. I did a matrix. I brought Philip Oduaso, I brought this one, I plotted a matrix. I said, okay, what were the skills? What were the special things he had that at the end of the day, they made him an ED? I just came here with a bachelor degree in electrical engineering. It's really very good. I know what united these men and women, very few people. I realized there was a pattern. Nearly most of them they were chartered accountants. I said, wow. Philip studied from university at the University of Lagos. He studied civil engineering or so. But most of them were chartered accountants. I said, the first thing I would do is to just go and get an ICANN. I'm just going to write that exam, no matter what it is. I've never seen a balance sheet before. I've never balanced one, sorry. Never look at a profit and loss statement. But provided is what has gotten these men to become executive directors in this bank. I'm going to do it. So I went to ICANN office. They're also in Victoria Land. Just asked them that, where do I belong? Say I have to take this. I think the first stage there was the first level. There was the intermediate phase. There was the PE1 and the PE2. Remember, there was the first level intermediate phase. They waived some courses for me, and then I took the first level. It wasn't really difficult. It was just like, just make sure you don't sleep in the night. Just study more. First one was really not hard. Now it's really just basic things. The intermediate one, it wasn't also hard. The only thing is that it took a lot of my time over the weekend. I was working on the professional exam one, PE1. Then the opportunity to go to America now came. All I'm trying to say here is that it's not about complaining. It's about having a strategy. This thing they call career. You may say, okay, I just want to get from this A to B. And you're just following the noise. Because if you go to some of these big banks in Lagos, most of these are directors, most of them are chartered accountants. And you are actually hoping one day you'll become a big boss. Are you going to do what they did many years ago? You know, you are not going, if you are a technology person, I promise you, it's really going to be hard for you to be executive director. I mean, they don't usually make IT guys executive director. What they can make them a director, they will make them executive director, or they make them CTO, CIO, or there, but they put one guy who can sign documents for Central Bank of Nigeria, and most of those guys have ICANN. Yeah, they put them on top of you. They are the people that will run operations, even though you're the one running it, but they are the people in charge, because there are so many ordinance rules in banking. And if you want to connect to it, banking remains the business of accounting. You have to find where it is, and you do that. So I'm not saying that everyone should go and be a chartered accountant. My point is, if the world is changing, you have to figure out how to stay relevant in that business. That's the point. Now, somebody had a question here. Good morning. Is it possible to get Tekedia to run a certificate course in data science? Interestingly, of course, we want to focus on something. We think we have, I will use the word in quotes, advantage. There are companies that are doing data science very well. We have the Data Science Nigeria, which I think is a very great company that people can go and do data science. If you are interested in learning data science, go to Data Science Nigeria. You can learn it very well. We don't think that we are going to offer any new thing. And so people, when our members ask us, we refer them to Data Science Nigeria. Just go there and learn it, because they're already doing a good job. And so that's the way we think we can do better things. And but if you're looking at the business of data science, the management aspect of data science, what do you use data science to do in business? That's where Tekedia comes in. So we look at how data science can drive better business decision making, how you could drive profit, how you could drive growth, and how you can drive that efficiency in the utilizing your factors of production. And that's part of the thing we studied this week. The doctor, a faculty member who delivered that course, he was a PhD in data science, and he works in one of the largest insurance companies in Europe, in the United Kingdom, and he is their data guy. So, but his business is not writing codes. His business is using data science to make decisions in business. So our own data science is the management aspects of data science. If you're now focusing on the technical aspect of data science, go to Data Science Nigeria. We wouldn't want to go into the core technical areas. We just want to stay on the business aspect of it, the management aspect of it. And then we work with others that are doing the technical. And that way, a community, people have options so that anyone can focus on becoming better in what he or she does. So I think that is a fair plan for us here. So John, what you could go ahead. You're raising your hand. John, go ahead, unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Basically, I wanted to comment on this fear of innovation or robotics or AI or cloud computing taking over the jobs. I think as business leaders or champions in our each organization, it's critical that we take serious the course that we had on week 3 from the lady that talked about effective organizational change management. In fact, I as a project-driven person, I was looking at how change affects people and organization. I looked at about people, processes, and technology. And in her explanation, she made it clear that the most affected is people. So if companies are innovating or going digital, things that are affected are people, people mentality. How do people accept change? So it's good that in fact, we have to, each of us need to go back and look at that change management process and see how we can help ourselves and also help our individual companies or where we work or businesses that we do so that we carry people along. I understand in different organizations I've worked, I noticed that most of the challenges when new thing come on board is not getting people informed or doing that proper change management. Most times we always talk about changing tools, changing technology, changing processes, but the people that are involved in it, most times we neglect them. And after taking that course or reading over and over about effective organizational change management by Omowumi Adenuga Taiwo, it became clear to me that before even that process or technology is being deployed, whatever innovation comes in, we need to carry people along. We need to make sure people understand what we want to do and how they are impacted. You know, most times I look at this word, what is in it for me as being biased. How can you say what is in it for you? But it becomes a reality to me that you must let people know what it is in need for them, whether positive or negative. Because if they don't know what is in need for them, most times it's positive. They won't support the change. And like we are discussing in this business school, it's critical that we understand that change will definitely happen and things are changing. Even when government change policies, we need to identify how does this affect me and my business? What is in need for me? Because if we have that mindset, it will make us move forward without begin to complain or get people who complain. We cannot find a way to help them to achieve why things are moving. As like Prof said, businesses have to innovate because we want to save costs. Cost is the biggest challenge everybody is facing. And now with COVID now, everybody is cutting costs, even though it might affect the operations or whatever it is. But we want to find ways, and change is important because most times we always look at this change as is always changing things, but change will continue to happen as the lady points out to us. And it's good that we go back to that week 3 and take note of it. Change is very important and how we manage that change. In fact, I never knew that we need to take like 3 surveys from the beginning to the middle of the process of the change at the end to see whether people are adapting to it. If they don't adapt it or if they abandon it or leave it, that means we didn't succeed. And that will affect even the culture of the business. So that is one thing I want to mention as a contribution, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like you said, that's actually what it takes. It's just a fact that we have to be very, very flexible and adaptable because change is the only constant. So if we do not do that, it's going to be very, very challenging. So as we move into the program, I think we'll have a lab, our first lab for, you also see how that change management process comes in. We're going to be looking at a business case where a bank acquired a fintech. And when the bank acquired a fintech, a culture in the bank and the culture of the fintech company, they clashed. The question was, how will the bank merge the fintech and also make sure that the reason why the bank acquired the fintech you will still realize it. In short, the question alone is more than one. It's a page. It's called a business case. It was developed by our change management faculty, Taiwo. She just explained it very, very clearly. And we saw what some of our members, I think there was one I posted yesterday, a response, I think it's 15 pages. She was trying to create a scenario where the bank has to do this, the bank has to do this. Otherwise, the culture of the fintech, which the bank looked at to acquire the fintech to help improve its own IT department, that will just go. So it's not an easy thing because you are bringing in a new company that is very agile, and you're trying to merge that new company to a company that has been largely not agile. And then the old company is trying to tell the new company, see, there are a lot of things we're doing right. Otherwise, we would not have bought you. We bought you. You are the small company, so you just have to chill. We tell you what we want you to do because we bought you. But the management doesn't want that. The management wants, even though he bought the fintech, he wants the fintech. So there are so many things here. Yeah, it's like we're having a background noise there. Yeah. So when we get there, so thank you so much for that perspective. Nnamdi, you have a question? Go ahead, Nnamdi. Unmute yourself, Nnamdi. Are you there?
I have a contribution to make.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we need to understand that the new business models that are going to thrive in this current fourth industrial revolution, we need to leverage cloud computing, artificial intelligence to a great extent, and data analytics. Now, why do I say so? Because yes, most of our co-learners here might be wondering, how does Amazon go from being a $1 trillion company to become a $2 trillion company? It's because Amazon has accumulated deep capabilities in cloud computing and AI. So this allows Amazon to become a better business than whoever they're competing with, because they have data. So that data has learned the preferences of customers. And that data is what enables Amazon to make personalized requests. I mean, to offer personalized services to your customers. For example, I like to buy motivational books. Amazon knows that Nnamdi Odumoje likes to buy motivational books by Professor Ndubuisi Ekekwe. Even if I'm in my room and Professor Ndubuisi Ekekwe releases his Dangote system, techniques for building conglomerates, Amazon really sends me a notification that this is the latest book from your favorite author. I didn't request for it, but Amazon has learned to know that these are my preferences. And that has given me an expectation that I need to save up some money to get that book. So why am I just saying this? So this is just a perfect example of how AI, you understand, is actually transforming businesses. So irrespective of whether you run a farm, you run a fintech, or whatever you are into, for you to actually scale and achieve efficiency, you would have to utilize these digital technologies. That's this contribution I've just made. Thank you.
Yeah, and we will say that once again that is not a small statement for you to utilize these technologies. And utilizing these technologies, it doesn't mean that you have to go and break the bank. Like how we have noted it, that since we started Tekedia Media MBA, our total advertising budget has been $125. And $125. But the $125 was because we needed to see Facebook, see Google, so that we can use it for our lecture materials. We didn't even need to spend that money per se. My point is this: don't translate utilizing digital technology with direct correlation with money. So I have to spend so much money before so that people know I'm investing in technology or investing in the future. There are so many ways you can do it. If you go to Facebook now, there are many young women that are doing very well on women hair, wig. In short, I can tell you that here in America, my wife, she orders these things all the time. And I say, hey, hello, madam. This thing, this one is coming. This one is designed this way. This one is designed this way. She just sees them and say, you don't even know them and you're sending them money. So it's not a problem that she has 10,000 followers that she will not run away. It turns out that they are not running away. So my point is, the women that are making hair this week, selling them especially to people in the diaspora, they have built a business and they have used digital technology to reach new customers. And I also believe that their own data, it may not be as elaborate as the one in Amazon, has also shown them that their best customers could be those living outside the country. So if they are making it for somebody, let's say in my village, in Abia State, maybe the person will say, I'll pay you 2,000 naira. But if they get somebody, let's say in the United Kingdom, it could charge $50. So why will you sell to the person in the village? So that is data, and that is application of data. Some now hire people to open a page on Instagram, show different hairstyles, and they are now focusing on reaching out to the standard world. Technology has so many beautiful things, but we have to invest our time and efforts to see how we can use that technology to unlock value. Yeah. So, Nii, you want to say something? I think you have just been popping up. Are you there, Nii? Okay. Nam, did you have something else to say, or your hand, you forgot it? Okay. Okay. So I have a question here from the other channels. So he's asking that I mentioned that 5G, we're going to include 5G in our next section. Why should we worry about 5G in Africa today when we have not gotten 4G well? I wish there are people here in the telecom sector who would have asked them to answer this question, but I would say largely one thing here. In a way, it's very frustrating because we've not really gotten the benefits of 4G. And to more than 90% of users in Africa, 4G will just do it for them if the 4G is reliable. Not many people are really interested in the super fast 5G. They're just interested in a reliable, even reliable 3G. So where we don't have 3G, we struggle with 4G. What will be different in 5G? So it comes down to doing business in a very, very challenging environment. It's really very challenging. There's just no doubt about it. How are you going to build this 5G with generators in the stations? How are you going to build 5G with all kinds of environmental challenges we see, especially in West Africa, place like Nigeria? It's leaving the localized challenges. If you look at the optimal analysis, you see that they say that this 5G is going to be a big deal. And it comes down that if you bring robotics and AI and feed them into 5G networks, you are going to have multiple better efficiency than if you feed them into, let's say, 3G or 4G. A very good carpenter can have a factor of maybe 1 or 2 better than an average carpenter. But a very good AI system run into thousands of multiples. And I give you an example. Usain Bolt, I think he remains the fastest man alive. He will clock in maybe 9 seconds or 8 point something seconds in a 100 meters dash. But I tell you that if I run on a very good day, there is Zobo, there is Unkobi and Amala, I can actually do within 30 seconds. So Usain Bolt runs below 10 seconds. I run below 30 seconds, 100 meters. I think that's fair. I can actually do below 20 seconds. Technically, what is the efficiency ratio? The efficiency ratio between Usain Bolt and myself may not be more than 3. I mean, he does it less than 10 seconds. I do it at averagely 30 seconds. That's a factor of 3. But the efficiency ratio between a code written by an average student and a code written by the very best in the world, you're no more talking of efficiency ratio of 3. You're no more talking about 5. You could be talking of 1,000. So the implication of that is these technologies, the multiples begin to change when great, I will call them enablers, come into place. So you have 3G, you can get efficiency ratio between 3G and 2G, maybe 4. Now have between 4G and the 2G, maybe you have 8. But if you now move into this 5G, according to them, it has to now move into high digits. It can even be the 3 digits, or if not, just high digits, 2 digits. So that is what people are saying. And that is what has promised, why the investing in that becomes a very, very great thing. So we cannot fold our hands and say, because 4G didn't work, the 5G cannot work. The key thing here is just that Africa has to do better. There are things that trip us that we should not be talking about them now. Yeah, just look at what happened in Abuja this week or so. Last 2 weeks, in the Nigerian custom, somebody wrote an elaborate letter that there were going to be security challenges in Abuja. You would have expected that that letter would have triggered the security apparatus of the country to be very, very vigilant. It turns out that what these guys said actually happened, was it 2 days ago? They kidnapped people. Was it yesterday or so? So how are you going to build a continent when, even when you have the right information, you can't even act on that information? I mean, it means you don't just care. So somebody said bad boys are coming up to the capital. Make sure that you take care of yourself, and everyone knew about it. Newspapers reported it. The TV station reported it. And just within a week, the guys actually came and kidnapped people just like the man wrote. You know, if we take the same attitude to how we build technologies, how we live our lives, there is just no way we're going to make progress. So that's the point, that it's not 4G that will change that. It's not 5G that will change it. We just have to be better to own and take responsibilities in anything that we do. One of the things I like about, let me say, America, is that there are consequences for any action you take. And because you know there are consequences, you try to minimize being stupid all the time because you know there are consequences. But when there are no consequences, what happens? No one takes responsibility. You go to work, you don't do your job, you know, nothing will happen to you. So that's what these things will look like. So we just have to prepare for them. So next question, please. We'll be rounding up because this is a work day. We don't want to keep people. Any more questions? Okay, Namde also has his paper on the link on the chat, please. You can also click on Tekedia roadmap to create an intelligent economy with AI and blockchain. So, okay, let's get to Solomon Anna. Then we go to Manuel. Solomon, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Prof.
Yeah. Morning.
Yeah. So mine is like more or less of a question, but I'm looking at the data aspect because to me, for effective for effectiveness of artificial intelligence in this part of medicine, in Nigeria per se, we need to look at the authenticity of the data. I mean, the accuracy of the data being collected, because artificial intelligence cannot drive without accuracy of data. And I'm speaking from the experience because I'm coming from the background of an e-commerce where sometimes at the past, normally have this thing like Black Friday or thereabout, where you see people, intentionally, they kind of raise the price of the product, bring it down. So they're not even giving you the accuracy of data of what, if there's any system that will crawl the information from the data supply. So, and there are many things, there are many challenges in terms of getting the accuracy of data. So my question, Prof, is how can we handle this situation?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Solomon, that's really the business. It's really nothing like AI. There's nothing like big data without data. That's really nothing like that. And that's really the biggest challenge for Africa. If we don't have the data, we don't have the foundation to build upon. So you can't really be doing this AI if you don't have. Just look at Nigeria today. We don't even know how many we have. We can't count ourselves. We can't register birth. We can't register immigration effectively. And we've been trying, I think since 2007, to have a way of tagging the citizens. But we've not been very successful on that. Now, if we cannot do that on human beings, now tell me how can we do that on other things that are not critical? So that's also the reason why some banks, some insurance companies in Africa, they have not been able to deploy this technology because they don't have data. But what we are saying here is this, and that's also what I've told most. If you just keep complaining that you don't have the data, what have you done to have the data for tomorrow? So the problem is that you don't have the data today. We know about that. We don't have it. But what have you started doing to make sure that you have that data for tomorrow? So it is a big question. And we have to put efforts to begin to have that new change in the ways we do things. I give an example. Most parts of Africa, we lived for centuries without having a means of documenting our history, documenting our culture, documenting the way we do things. I'm a village guy. I live in the village before they asked me to go to university. We had this woman, she knew how to cure the most poisonous snake bites. You go to her, somebody has been bitten by a snake, there is a herb. She just say, okay, hold on. She'll go to inside the bush, and then she will come back. She'll give the person a herb, a concoction, and the person will just throw off, I guess, the venom or whatever to go. That is another woman. She could repair the broken bones. So people all over most part of Abia State, Ebonyi State, will come to her if they cannot go to the National Orthopedic Hospital in Enugu or something. She could repair broken bones. She was really very good. That those two women have died. The children, in short, one of them was my classmate in secondary school, child. Okay, that's okay. That herb your mother used to do you know, say, waiting concern with herb. They own the city. But the mother went with that history, went with that. And according to tradition, the woman was born in Owerri, then she was married to in Abia State in Ovim. And her great-grandparents, that was what they were known in Owerri. So she moved, carried that knowledge, and I'm told that no one in that family knows that herb anymore. So that one has gone. That's part of data. No one kept the data. No one documented that data. So this is not a problem of today. It just has been our lifestyle. It's just very, very careless way of living. I mean, I'm not insulting our ancestors. I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that they had their own issues. and we also have our issue. But if you just look at it, there are so many things Africans didn't just do right. So we are losing all these very great knowledge-based systems, and daily we are now buying them, because the ones we have, we lost, and then the new ones people have, we have to go and pay to get them. And that is very, very unfortunate. AI didn't change that. Data analytics, the data analytics we have in 100 years ago, we didn't keep them. The only part of Africa that tried a little best was Ethiopia. Ethiopia, they invented indigenous way of writing. And if you look at Ethiopia seems to have a better way of keeping information on, and they have, because even during the time of colonialism in Africa, Ethiopia was just the only part of Africa that Westerners could not colonize, because they have documented how they resisted old colonial masters. And people read through them. But in our own, we lost it. So we have to change everything and how we look at things. That it is in your head doesn't mean that the next person will have it. Until we have that data culture, whether we're in a bank, whether we are in the traditional African practice, whether we are in a saloon, or whether in anywhere, we cannot make progress. Just go back to your university. I don't know the school you graduated, Solomon. Ask them to show you your university final year project. I promise you, depending on the university, there was no space to store it. And just there's no space, the dean would just approve, please, all the theses from 1981 to 2000, burn them. And then you see Africa burning knowledge base of some of his brightest young people. They spend time 4 or 5 years, they created that knowledge, and we just burn them. That's what they do in most of the universities. They just burn the thesis because there's no space. So if that is a culture, why do you think that anything will change in the bank? So it's about reorientation, about the validity of a continent or a nation, when people understand that you can't just fly and move from A to Z. You have to go through B and C in so many cases. So, Emmanuel, you have the last point or last question, because we need to round up in 2 minutes. Go ahead, please, Emmanuel.
Go for this. And then I just want to also return back finally, and then because for quite a long now, we all know that the dollar stuff has been up and down. And then in the recent time, there are some news which every one of us, majority of us are following up. The first one is about the Dangote refinery. Just last month, the owner of Bua, Abu Samad, put in paper with the Denmark company and the other company there in Europe for 200,000 tons of barrel per day of a refinery, I think somewhere in Imo State on the east there. And also now the AIPCC Energy also in Edo State there is expected to start the production by October, according to the completion progress now. So my question here is this: if all these refineries, this is 3 private refineries that should be in full operation in the next 3 to 5 years, do we expect the dollar or the naira to appreciate against dollar massively? Since petroleum product importation is the major thing that is catching away the dollar against naira. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I'm a person that I believe that the future is full of abundance. The future is full of abundance, but that future has to be unlocked, because it's not just given. Now, if Nigeria can decouple itself from importing petroleum products, it gives us a very good balance of trade. It gives us a favorable balance of payment. It gives a favorable balance of trade. And if we have the favorable balance of trade and favorable balance of payments, the implication is that the stress we have on the Nigerian naira, we are going to lessen it. And that will be a very good thing. So there is just no doubt that if these refineries come into operations, good things will happen. But yet, it's also important to know that Nigerians, if we do not diversify or if we do not build local production or manufacturing systems, the money we save from importing crude products, they can also start spending that money on PayPal, buying things on Macy's and JCPenney and Amazon. So you may suddenly realize that, okay, they saved 50 billion naira in a year on fuel and the dollar exchanges, but they now have started buying gold and silver internationally. So you cannot take for granted, because there was a time Nigeria was one of the highest mobile shoppers through PayPal, in I think either the second in the world or something like that. So people were really buying things. That was about, I think, 2014-15, when the banks made it possible that people could spend their naira in hard currency through their debit card. So people would just go online, order pizza from London, and then British Airways will deliver the pizza the next flight that will come. Then people will also go online, just US retail store, buy as many things they can buy. The Mall for Africa will deliver the next few days or weeks. Now, so buying things, people just stop buying local things. They stop buying local soap. They stop buying anything. They wanted to buy the one that was shipped directly from US. So don't really take this thing for granted. We can end up having refineries that will help us. But if those people and those are citizens prefer now to buy only used soap bought from just Macy's or sorry, Macy's doesn't sell soap, or Amazon or eBay, we'll create another one. So things have to be, the other things have to come in. We have to have factories. And then when we have the factories, we now encourage people to think home. If you go to Ghana today, I would say some of the private universities in Ghana, some of the universities in Ghana actually built solely for Nigerian students, per se. Their primary market is that Nigerians are coming. And they prepare them, market them, promote them, to position them for Nigerians to come. And when you are sending the Ghanaian CD from Nigeria, you are not transferring it through your branch. It's basically an international transaction. So refineries having them, that will be a very big positive. But we have to also do more, because the money we save there, we can also take it up and spending in other things. And then finally, the last point I'll make there, Dangote refinery was supposed to have been ready by 2016. We are hearing now that it's going to be 2021. I think I wrote an article about that about 2 weeks ago. We're saying, let it not be another Nigerian project. Some experts in Bloomberg said it cannot be ready before 2023. So why is it that even in multi-billion-dollar businesses, we keep having the same problem, whether in the private sector, whether in the public sector, where our projections are always off? But I promise you that if that project had been in China or United States, they will have a delta plus minus 6 months to deliver it. So it is something that, as these people are starting these projects, we are going to hope that they will get the necessary support so that they can get these projects up, so that we can use it to give the Nigerian naira a little bit of support. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us at Tekedia Live. We'll meet again tomorrow. I think tomorrow is, the morning or so. So please check it. Thank you, and have a wonderful, profitable day at work. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.